there's platforms and websites where you can buy businesses. I hope everyone understands that. You can go to websites and look at people selling their businesses and just run the numbers, see if that makes sense, if you understand that business, if you would be up for operating that business, or people you could put in place to operate that business or make it better. And you don't have to start it from scratch at all. You just purchase it. That's a direction I don't think enough people go.
Welcome to the Good Life.
Welcome back to another episode of the Good Life Visual Audio Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, C. Muzan. I got Coach Kabi in the building. Say what's
That's
up,
right.
Coach.
What up, though? Shout out to my brothers and sisters in Detroit. Your voice will not be lost out here in this East Coast beef. I know you always get caught in the middle, but I'm here to make sure that your voice is heard in the airwaves until Uncle Jalen can get back on me.
I just saw Jalen on. He was on some NBA stuff. He was doing some NBA stuff recently.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's the playoffs. You know, they're like, I guess we got to bring him by. He's one of the best analysts we've got.
And I think I saw him on a Sports Center clip, too. So shout out to Uncle Jalen. Right?
That's right.
Uncle
Hardest
Jalen,
headline in the game. In the game.
Who's
People
your barber?
Yeah, he's got 3 barbers. Why do I know all of his barbers by name?
Why do you?
Don't worry about that. Yeah, I might be trying to get a cut. Sheik.
Way to just drop the name.
I follow you on Instagram. Feel free to follow back at Coach Kabi. Let's connect.
Shameless plug.
How you doing,
guys?
though, brother? How you doing?
Life is good, man.
Yeah.
After your shameless plug, life is good. Life is good. Business rocking and rolling. Family's good. Moving and shaking. Man, it's just lots of stuff changing in this season. I don't know if you're experiencing this stuff.
Oh yeah.
But lots of shifting, lots of movement. I mean, it is springtime. My allergies are punching me in the face every day. Right. But things are shifting. Things are moving. Life is good. How's things on your end?
About the same. It's a season of change, breaking through the shell, coming out of winter for real. I know we've been in spring for a while, but there's levels and I think we're just kind of like coming out of this mentally, physically, in a lot of ways. So yeah, things are growing. Absolutely. Business is good. Listen, this is a great time for all of those that are listening. This is a great time to maybe not get ahead, but stay on track with your health goals. Right? Maybe you missed the first quarter, but this is a great time to really come out of hibernation. Maybe lighten the foods. Maybe don't stick to your ribs quite as much. Maybe you're moving a little bit more, getting the heart rate up a little bit more. Nothing too crazy. Watch the knees, especially if you're over 30. Watch the knees. And I say this not, call anybody out. I'm just saying sometimes people go from hibernation to, oh my gosh, I put on 15 pounds. I need to go super hard. Ouch, my knee hurts. Stop. Nothing will put you out more than an injury. And if you're ready to get started, 6 weeks program is out. So you go to my profile, Instagram, click on that, and go ahead and watch what we can do for you.
There we go. 6 week program out now. Man, it's been a long time coming, bro. Right?
Yeah.
Excited because the program's finally together.
Yes, sir. And this is super in-depth, super holistic approach. I say 6 weeks because that's when you can expect to actually feel and see results. However, obviously, this is the 6 weeks to the rest of your life, essentially. It's a way of opening up, moving forward. So, yeah, let's get some people transformed.
I love it. And again, if for those of you that have been checking in, following us here on the Good Life, this is what we talk about, right? Health and wealth. Get connected with us. If you're not connected with us in our Facebook group, please dive into our Facebook group, join our Facebook group. We're putting a lot more detailed content there. Again, we just recently had our last workshop, which was another hit. Tons of valuable information, tons of stuff that Kabi and I were able to share. If you are in the group, you can go in and still catch the replay of it, depending on when you're watching this. But we got another one coming up also. We give you all that type of information more of it in the Facebook group. So if you haven't joined over there yet, please do join us on Facebook. Or if you continue to rock with us here on LinkedIn, YouTube, just go ahead and, again, send this to somebody that you care about. Let them know that we're having some good conversations over here about how to get to a good life and how to maintain it and how to get to the place where you are designing the life that you want. So let's dive into our segment we call
2x2.
This Just Came Out
Hot takes.
recently. Hot takes. There we go. This just came out. This says 5 adults were cited in a brawl in a middle school basketball game that led to a death. So in Vermont State Police announced citations for 5 adults, not children, 5 adults in their involvement in a brawl at a middle school basketball game in Vermont late January, leading to the death of a 60-year-old man. That's sad. It says this man, his name happened to be Russell, was involved in the altercation, died of cardiac event while driving home. All 5 adults were from 24 to 32 are now facing some misdemeanor charges. What's going on in our country, bro? What's going on with the middle school sports games leading to fights and deaths? What's happening?
Absolutely insane, bonkers. But the fact that you had to clarify that the people that were being arrested were adults, not not the middle school players for going crazy at middle school. That's the one that I always get. Yeah. But I'm not too surprised because the culture of youth sports is super intense in the United States. I mean, we can start with college athletics, right? We pretend as if the Ivy Leagues are these, academic institutions, but what makes the Ivy League is sports. Right, that's how they got started. That's what set them apart. That's what gave them their edge. It was sports, and specifically, I believe it was college football that really got things going. Right, that's why you see the old Abercrombie and whatnots that are out there with the photos and whatnot. But am I surprised people are fighting to the point where people are being arrested and people and others are dying? No, because that's the future of youth sports. That's where we're going. That's where we're headed. Quite frankly, so be it. If that's how you feel, right? Can I get on here and be like, "Oh, we shouldn't be setting this example and doing this for all I can"? But who am I to say that? Because I don't know. If it was my kid out there, maybe I'll get in a fight too.
we had this conversation actually by looking at this headline, and I said the exact opposite. I said I don't know that I could ever get that riled up as a parent over my child's game that I get into a fight. But again, never say never. So I understand. I don't see it. And these types of articles do make me question like what are people really fight? Like, what were they fighting about? What are people really looking at and caring about in their day to day? I think one of the reasons I don't foresee myself ever like getting into a fight at my daughter's soccer game is because there's bigger problems. There's like just bigger fish to fry. Like, I don't know. I just can't see a circumstance where that happens. But I feel like a lot of people are in the spot where, again, not able to manage their anger, their temper, angry about other things, lashing out. I don't know, but this is definitely it's unacceptable behavior. I'm not judging, but that's really just unacceptable behavior because really, what example are we setting for the children? Right? We really have to think about that. There's probably nothing sportsmanlike about a bunch of people fighting.
Teaching the kids to stand their ground.
I don't know that that's the lesson. I don't know that that's the lesson to
take. Man.
But either way, man, I guess we'll see it when we get there. What's you guys' thoughts? We need some engagement from you guys. What's your thoughts on like parents fighting at children's games, middle school games, those types of things? You think it's appropriate, inappropriate? Have you done it? I know some of you listening are like, that's me. I've done that. Just how? Why? Leave us some feedback. We just want to hear why. That's all. Good stuff. 2x2. Let's dive into the show, man. we're going to have a financial conversation. Again, depending on when you're listening to this, right now, if you're watching us live, it's April. It's the end of April, and we haven't talked a lot about this on uh, the podcast as much. But in my business life and my personal social stuff, I've been talking a lot about April being Financial Literacy Month. All right. And so April as Financial Literacy Month is just a time for us to be able to start having financial conversations. The things that maybe we don't understand or we don't have help with, or maybe we just have some questions about, don't have a lot of guidance around. April's a month that we try to be a little bit more open about it, talk about it a little bit more, ask that question, get in touch with your financial professional that you know. So we try to make the education accessible. This episode, this show today, we're going to talk about one of those areas that I feel is a 202 level, maybe even a 303 level type of conversation. Normally here, when we talk finances or financial literacy, especially, we're talking kind of foundational stuff, right? We're kind of talking about the the budgeting or the debt management or some of the basics. But today we wanted to have a little bit more of a conversation, just because it's Financial Literacy Month. We want to kind of take it up a notch and talk a little bit more about some of these what I call mid level or midterm investments, right? It's not your short term high yield savings account. It's not your IRA, Roth IRA, solo 401k. It falls somewhere in between there, because it's not your long-term nest egg that's gaining compound interest, and it's not your short-term safety net. It's the place you want to build some wealth. You want to grow, you want to invest, you want to get a return on your money. Some people say they want to flip their money, right? Like whatever it is, that's the place where you can really start building some wealth. So like, what are some opportunities that are out there? How should people be looking at it? That's what we're going to talk about today.
Come on now.
It's going to be a big deal. As I just kind of throw that out there as a kind of the topic, what are some of the things that come to mind? Could be as far as like for you or the people that you know, as far as where midterm investments fall. Is this something that's important to them? Is this the conversation? Where do you kind of fall on it?
Yeah, I think this is the probably the if you will, the attractive, buzzing, sort of sexy topic when it comes to money is these sort of investments, and I think that's what a lot of people are talking about it without knowing, quite frankly, that they're talking about it. As I think some people mix up before perhaps hearing your content, brother, is mixing up short, mid, and long, all jumbled up, and they call it all investing. All right,
Right.
all right. It's all just more money. Right. But I think in understanding it this way, you're better positioning yourself to make these sort of moves. And the things that come to mind is, we've talked about this before, and you've put it quite well. The first few steps, right? I'll say maybe the first 3 to 4 steps of Mr. Ramsey's process. I've always said it's very good for individuals who are starting out, beginners who are kind of really establishing that first, short. Right, we gotta go ahead and stop the bleeding, make sure everything is good. Got a few, we built some runway, and then we're slowly putting aside stuff for the super long term, right? But then in the middle, this is where we identify what am I good at, what do I enjoy, and what can I get paid for at the level of maybe expert, or a level of like highly above average, to leverage and put some money towards. And I think putting some figures towards that was also very helpful as well. And feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I've heard you say somewhere in around like the 10, 20, 30, 40,000, right in there. It's kind of where you want to be before you make it. And I think that's just about right, actually, because when I look at some of the options, right, that I have been involved in or have some experience with, or et cetera, whether it be real estate. All right. I think a lot of people, myself included, early on, it's like, man, rich dad, poor dad. Yes, buy real estate. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have a job. You don't have or you have a job, but everything You don't know what's
Your
coming in, what's
expenses are
going
high.
out.
Yeah, your expenses are high.
Correct. And you spend, all of your time, driving for dollars, and maybe you're spending your time like sending out mailers, and essentially what's happening there, as I look back at some of those experiences and also the experience of others, is like you're kind of playing slots. Right. Now you might gain experience, you
Right.
might run into a deal and stumble your way through, and you should always start rather than waiting on the sidelines. I'm not saying any of that. I'm not giving you procrastinators and whatnot's excuses to continue to procrastinate. But what I am saying is that timing does matter.
Mm,
And I think, particularly myself in my real estate endeavors, I was early for a lot of stuff, right?
right.
And I learned some lessons the hard way. All right. But the figures of a couple 10, 20, 30, 40,000 in there is a great figure to, I would say, build a machine. All
Yeah.
right. A machine that leverages your knowledge base.
Hmm.
What are you good at? What will people pay you for? What do you enjoy doing? Whatever that is.
Hmm.
First and foremost, you got to identify that by investing in yourself to gain the knowledge,
That's
right?
good.
And it doesn't necessarily always have to be money. You could. That's a great place to trade the time for the knowledge. And I think this is the distinction
Mm,
between a lot of folks that maybe uh, were hustling in terms of trying to get into this, and were successful, besides getting lucky, is like they paired up with somebody, right?
mm,
They gave up their time to somebody who had knowledge and was able to use that to multiply and get them
yeah.
in the process.
Yeah. I think that strategy is definitely underrated, right? But being able to either pay for it or just get around somebody that already understands the business or what you're looking to do, and you can learn from them, that is the ultimate investment in yourself. And I
Yeah.
think, again, that's where a lot of this starts. I'm glad you kind of took it to that place, because we can have these financial conversations all day long, but if you aren't willing to invest in yourself, right, if you aren't willing to invest in like your education and your learning and your resources, then, right, this building wealth game is not really for you, right? You don't have the mindset just yet. You got to have that mindset of investing in you, because that's normally where it starts. So yeah, getting around the right people is going to allow you the opportunities to start to see the things that, again, that like could be said, that you like, something that is, in your knowledge base, something that's just the white space, that's the idea out there. um, but there's a lot of different avenues to go, and that's why we wanted to talk about it, right? Is because
Yeah.
there's a bunch of different avenues, and I think that's also a place people get stuck.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah. Where do
just
I go? I talk to, actually. It's funny. I do not run I do not coach businesses, right, or whatnot, but I run into so many people. Listen, I sell health coaching, by the way. So when you hit me up, let's talk about health coaching. But so many people, we end up talking about business because
Mhm.
they are not financially secure, or they're in a place where to
Right,
even invest in their health is a problem,
right,
right? And yeah, so that's a real
yeah,
thing.
yeah. And that's why, again, that's why we're doing the show. That's why I do what I do on the financial side of things, because it still comes down to us having that foundation of finance to be able to do things. But it starts with a mindset, a money mindset, just an investing mindset in general. So when we do talk about midterm investments, and again, how break this down, this is something that you've heard me talk about a lot on the show, that this is normally just a good way to structure your investment or investment life as you think of it. And then obviously there's subcategories, but you got short term, which is your emergency fund, sits over in the bank, sits over in a high yield savings account. That doesn't necessarily need to be invested. However, that safety net allows you to continue to invest in the places that you want to invest. Okay. Long term, again, having some type of IRA, some type of solo 401k, cash value life insurance, whatever people choose to use. that is your 15-year, 20-year. You're just going to keep putting money away in that thing and let it grow, let it do what it's going to do, right? Whether you choose to be aggressive in the market, whether you choose to put it in index funds, in a IRA, right? It doesn't really matter. Just something has to be going long term. Then we get a chance to come into this place where we start looking at the asset classes. We start looking at real estate. We start looking at equities, which is ownership of business. We start looking at commodities. And we can also look at, being a lender, fixed income, being able to lend out money and make money back for it. So those are your basic, what we call asset classes. Okay. The two that most people play in are real estate and equities. That's the two main ones. Commodities, oil, gold, silver, chicken, right? All that stuff. This
Copper.
copper, whatever you want.
Right.
Oranges, like there's a market for everything. It's having an end use. It's a good, right? That has an end use. That's what a commodity is. So you really need to know a little bit about the commodity side to actually win in the commodity side, right? Like you got to know a little bit about something or have an inside on that side. And then the fixed income, the lending money. Some people do this well. Some people don't want to touch it, right? Some people don't want to take the risk. Some people don't want to stack up the 30, 40, 50, $70,000, $100,000, 200 and then loan it out. Some people don't want to go that direction. Okay? So, but it is a way that people make substantial amounts of money, like wealthy people, right? Just by lending out money. It's how our banks work, right?
Right.
So
I was gonna say.
yeah. So just know that that's something that we can do. But if you really dive into real estate and you dive into equities, equities, ownership of business, many different ways to slice it. You can think of it like straight investing in the stock market, right? Like actually just value investing, semi like Warren Buffett like, and going in and saying, hey, these are my 4, 5, 6, 7 stock picks. I'm just going to invest all my money here and know that over this next 2, 3, 4, 7, 8 year period, I'll probably sell one of these or two of these or move out of this position or pick up something new, right? I'm going to reevaluate these all the time. I'm not just going to have the same stocks for 70 years, right? That's not the way it works. You do that over in your 401k or your IRA, just let that sit, right? But if you're actively midterm investing, you have to evaluate like Warren Buffett does every couple years. You're reevaluating the portfolio, even if it's the same 7 companies or the same 9 companies. Is this still the right place to invest? Am I still getting a return? Is it time to sell off these and move into something new?
Yeah.
That's what you're evaluating. So that's a whole lane in of itself, right? So if you want to learn how to value invest, you got to start reading the stock market books and how to evaluate a stock and how to evaluate a company, and right, like start understanding that side of things. That's the investment in yourself before you can go make money in that side of a midterm investment. Okay, but that's still part of equities. Another part that also falls under equities, ownership of business, is ownership of, right, like your own business. Like again, we run coaching businesses like that. That's the equity side. You can still, like you've heard me say, take that 20, 30, 40, $50,000 and invest it in your own business, and you have ownership in that business. You have equity in that business. You have now assets. You have an email list. You have followers on social media. You've sold courses. You have clients, right? That business now has a value, and you can continue to invest in it, and it can continue to grow. Eventually, one day, what? You can cash out. You can sell it, right? So all those things are things that can also happen. In the equity side, you can get into joint ventures, right? Venture capital, joint ventures, where you can just get with somebody 50-50. Hey, we're just going to go in 50-50 on this business. You got the idea, I got the money. Maybe I put up some of the capital, but you have the building relationships and I have the idea. Like however it works. You're more the operator, I'm more of the money, however you choose to play that out. But you could have an actual joint venture where you can just make a strategic partnership to be able to build something in the equity side. That's equities, though. Did I miss anything? Like, can you think of another example of like an something that would fall under the asset class of equities?
Not off the top. Sounds to
Yeah,
me like you covered definitely most of them,
yeah.
all of them, perhaps.
It's quite possible. There's a lot of them there, but that's where we have to get some type of specialized knowledge, right?
Uh-huh.
You have to get some type of understanding of kind of what you want to build. And this is something you've said before on the show too. Understand you don't have to build it from scratch,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
You don't have to build it from scratch. Some ideas, there's platforms and websites where you can buy businesses. I hope everyone understands that, right? Like that should be just knowledge that we all have, especially if you look into midterm investing or just whatever asset class you're going to sit in. You can go to websites and look at people selling their businesses and just run the numbers, see if that makes sense. If you understand that business, if you would be up for operating that business, or people you could put in place to operate that business or make it better. And you don't have to start it from scratch at all. You just purchase it. All right. So that's a direction I don't think enough people go. The
Mm,
website's
I agree.
Biz Buy Sell. That's one
Hmm.
of the like
Hmm.
top websites to
Hmm.
go to. Um, but there's a lot of ways you can go that direction, and most of those are some type of like brick and mortar business. But
Yeah.
there's other sites you can go to where you can start to buy online businesses, right? People that have had ads, websites that generate ad dollars, right? And now they don't want to run those uh, online businesses anymore. They get tired, right? They don't want to do the blog or the SEO or whatever happens, and you come in and you can buy one of those businesses and literally basically flip it, put the same marketing dollars into it, the digital marketing dollars, build back up the SEO, start getting the ad dollars back, flip the business and sell it back off if you want to. Right? So that's another form of like buying something that's already existed and just making it better. So that's an option in the equity side. And I think people need to know that that's an option, that you don't have to start something from the ground up. But if you did choose to go from the ground up, you could, and you can get into the venture capital side of things if you feel like that's the direction you want to go. I don't know if this is the right climate for that, meaning where our economy is and those types of things. I don't know if that's the smartest place to be. Um, but maybe it is, right? For good ideas, maybe there's a lot of money out there for the right ideas, for the right things that people need. So um, that's the equity side of things. That's the equity side of things. How come you think most people? Do you think most people don't play in the equity side of things as much as they should? That's my personal belief.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts on it?
I think I agree with that personal belief. So let's make it our personal belief. Uh, and I'm not sure why, but I can venture to guess or at least offer up a couple of points as to why. I think one of them is there's a lack of understanding to what you just stated, as in there's levels. There's
Mm-hmm.
venture backed businesses, there's lifestyle businesses, there's businesses that you can purchase or buy into, whether you have the skill set already, partnerships that you can buy into, groups that you can buy into. Um, and I think honestly, looking back, I think that's probably a smarter way to buy into something that already has a blueprint
Yeah.
or already has somebody who has done it.
Mm-hmm.
So, in real estate, it could be pairing up with somebody that's actually been doing what specifically in real estate you've been trying to do for a while and work your way up. I see in the coaching world, particularly in the kind of the online coaching world, Um, those that I see doing really well have typically paired up or worked with another coach who's already has a book of business.
Mm,
But I think that's normal, right? If you look at that's how law firms work. You have
mhm,
a rainmaker who has a huge book of business, dishes it out while you spend years working for that rainmaker and building your own book of business, right? So it's the exact same thing. And I think, but that's like established, and you wear suits and you get paychecks, so people don't really see it that way,
sure.
and they don't see the pyramid, which it is. Not saying it's a pyramid scheme, all right. I'm just saying it's a pyramid because that is the structure of anything I can think of. All right, and that's okay because there has to be somebody who's done it and can and is a rainmaker, like I said, and be able to generate that. And hitching your wagon to that is much smarter. Much smarter. For example, in the online space, if you have expertise in pretty much anything that you can teach, and you are good at teaching it, and you can
Mm,
deliver results, take people from A to B, I think the online coaching space is a great place to be right now.
mm,
And you can pretty simply build a deliverable product in the form of a knowledge-based product with a service attached,
mhm,
whether it be a course with coaching attached or something of that nature. You can deliver that. I mean, I know there's coaches, online coaches out there who are doing things I didn't think you could even do online, like teaching students how to tennis online. I didn't realize
mm,
that was a thing. I thought you had to be online in person, to teaching um, mothers how to generate income from home, or helping you know uh, guys who have some sort of like addiction problem,
mm,
right? And they have expertise in that. So you're seeing a lot of that, and you're seeing people who can, you know, in the at least in the high ticket world, there's a high ticket world, there's a medium ticket world, and there's a low ticket world.
mhm.
Right? You can see people generating, offers 2,500, a piece, sell four of those a month, and you're at a 10K a month. You do that consistently, and there you go. You got your business right there.
Yeah.
Um, so and most of the businesses I hear people talking about, it's like going out to to get venture funding,
Mhm.
which quite frankly, honestly, most I know very few people that should go that route.
Yeah, I know.
Truthfully, I feel like a lot more people should keep their day job and be better at cash flow and use that cash flow to start something, and then jump when that bridge is solid enough for your level of risk taking.
So,
Right. I
yep.
think that's the path.
I
What are
think
your thoughts on that?
no, I think 100%, right? Like that's the path for many people that are trying to kind of go out on that ledge and like become the entrepreneur, right? Get that venture deal. A lot of people should stay as employees for a bit longer,
Absolutely.
right? Like it's
Absolutely.
just it happens. It'll I see it happen a lot that people jump up premature, not understanding fully what it takes to be on this side of full entrepreneurship of right, like kind of going down that path. So, yeah, I completely agree. Here's a question that was kind of ruminating as you were talking.
Oh.
Yeah, you think like the because of our need for like travel freedom and like kind of lifestyle and those things, do you think the brick and mortar business has died? Like it's really people should move all to like digital creation and like everything that can give you kind of the ability to move around. Like, do you think it's wise to still invest in brick and mortar type businesses?
Yes, for some people.
Mm,
I think for some people, in certain circumstances, it makes sense to zig when everybody's zagging, or
mm,
zag when everybody's zigging. If I could see, I still see actually around here, West Side LA, like I see a lot of for lease signs, but I also see a lot of established businesses that seem to be doing really well.
mhm,
And I think it's kind of like cream rises to the top.
Right.
I don't see how we all of a sudden just absolutely stop all things physical, right? Or in terms of physical stores, etc. Uh, there's still a lot of people,
Yeah.
usually over the age of 30, who love to step in a store and they like to see it. They like to touch it. They like to
Yeah.
know it's real. They like to talk to a human being. What is all this ordering stuff, right?
But it can generate, like, to that point, I think the few people that do go can't sustain or generate what's needed for them to justify the rent in these commercial properties and things. And
Yeah. And I
they
think
have.
that's why you're seeing for lease signs and
Mhm.
whatnot. But I still believe cream will rise to the top in the sense of it can't be everybody. All right. All right. I wouldn't start there
Yeah.
in this climate. But if I were, for example, if I was in San Francisco, downtown San Francisco, a lot of people talk about, oh, everybody's leaving, da 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 da. I would be looking to buy condos because I think they're at a bargain right now,
Mm.
right? If that was my business, and I think there's some creative things you can do, especially in San Francisco with condos. Um, I do think they're at a steep discount, and if you have the cash, I actually do know a guy I just remembered who's perfectly positioned and very very happy in the next few years. He's going to be buying a lot of commercial space in San Francisco. Right? He's like, and his whole thought process was like, well, one, I have the cash, and two, you really think San Francisco is going to die completely? That's
Right.
absurd.
Right.
I will bet this large sum of money that that's not going to happen. So he's like, I've been waiting for years to buy property in San Francisco. This is the best time I've ever seen. So, we don't give blanket advice for that reason.
Right.
I'm certainly not starting in that area for
Yeah.
sure. I don't know. I don't know if we ever talked about this, but I almost bought a gym in San Francisco.
No way.
Right. Or took over a biz buy sale. Yeah. Yeah. I almost took over a gym. It was CrossFit gym. Had a deal in place, everything. Had everything lined up. Bam, COVID.
Wow. I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, yeah. I guess I never really talked about that. Yeah. So yeah, it was CrossFit gym. I had it all lined up. It was pretty good. I mean, honestly, pretty solid like numbers for San Francisco. I mean,
Yeah.
shocking. So let's say normal is like 10K. This dude
Mhm.
had been grandfather in at like 3K.
Wow.
Yeah, so my eyes were big when I saw that, and I was running the numbers. I was like, "Listen, if I have two group classes a day, like I'm
Right.
golden, right?"
Right.
But
Right.
yeah, that I really got saved then, and that
Why didn't you
actually
go through
pushed
with
me.
it?
Well, there was some delay with the paperwork. He had to travel and all of this agreement and all this stuff. So it took a lot longer than expected. And then when I came back, we had gone to a wedding. And when I came back, it was literally we left with a wedding. We came back and it was like COVID. It was just like, whoa, like everything just changed. I believe it was like March. Everything
Gotcha.
just changed. And I was like, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't move
That
forward with
was,
this now.
yeah, that COVID saved you on that one, huh,
Yeah.
man?
Yeah. So it forced me actually. That's when I really started
Mm,
going online. I was still in school, so it was kind of like 50-50. But that's what really was just like, oh, I should figure out this online coaching thing. And that's what started.
mm, got it. That's interesting. But yeah, timing's everything in a business, guys. Like, that's the story there, right? Like, timing is everything. Is not a good time for every business. So the brick and mortar side for me, um, yeah, I think to your first statement, right? Sometimes you got to zig when everybody's zagging. I think everybody's going very digital, and that's the main business that I'm building is digital, right? Like, I see a few people here and there in person, but most of it's right like this. So I'm right there, but it always brings me back to, like, man, like, businesses are about to be cheap, like brick and mortar businesses, like they're about to be cheap, like
Exactly.
like I just know it, and it's like, man,
Yeah.
I don't think it's a good time. Also, just from the place I think about it is from a personnel, like, hiring standpoint.
Sure.
Like, it's so hard to staff places well now,
Well,
right?
there's a solution to that, to a lot of that. I think what's happening and you're seeing that in like places like San Francisco. It's like things that can be automated are being automated. So the people are buying or taking over or whatever it is, and they're implementing, they're adding their expertise, right? They're implementing how do you make this more efficient? Or, I worked in this group and we figured out how to do X that saved us a bunch of money. If I implement that with this business, like there's no way I can't, because I'm cutting my overhead by X, Y, right? I think a lot of people are doing stuff like that. You're seeing, I think you saw, like, I don't think it was fully automated, like there was nobody in there, but it was a gym that had opened up. It was like a virtual like situation where there was very few people. Let me not speak too much on it because I never went there, but I just remember talking to it about people like, wait, do they have people in that building? I think it's just like fully automated. You just walk in and do your thing. I was like, wait, what? So I think there's some of that that's occurring. But I also think this is good in a way. It's kind of baptism by fire in a way, because there are a lot of fat businesses and like weak businesses that are being supported by, I would say, irregularities in the market. Whether it's government has stepped in and created some sort of like gravy pool that shouldn't be there, or there's some sort of advantage or something that's in play. But if we return back to what is the core of what does that mean, and what is the core of that, comes back to investment in yourself in terms of building up skill sets that you can leverage. Because I see a lot of my peers who are like about my age, and a lot of them are in like, middle management. Right. And they're hitting a point now where they're realizing, oh, sure, though, there's a ceiling as to where I can go. Right. And they're becoming sort of frustrated, like, wait. I have to be here for, basically they're seeing no way out. Right.
That's right. Because there is no way out. There is no way out. It's tough.
Yeah.
You hit that point of like, I got to do this for another 15 years. Wait a minute. I got to do this for another
15. 20? Yeah, way more than 15 for a lot of people.
That's true. Like that's that's a 25, right? 20,
yeah.
25, 30 year type periods. Like,
right.
Once you're locked in, you're like, yeah, this isn't what I want.
And then you pick up, at I would say, 30 and up, you pick up big responsibilities that almost kind of sign, seal, and deliver, where you're going to be doing for a while, whether it's a kid, whether it's a house, whether it's a marriage, whether it's you move to a particular place, whether it's your parents, right? So it's a lot of things that we pick up that all of a sudden make it so, hey, yeah, I gotta, right? It gives understanding to, I got a mortgage to pay, right?
That's right. That's right. I hear that all the time, right? People are working to pay bills. Like, I got these 2 card notes, right? I got these 2 card notes in this mortgage. I got to work. So
yeah. Which I the path that I have chosen is a long one, is one that takes time, but the days I sit there and like, man, when this is really, really taking off, you're glad you put in the work, right? You're glad you put in the work, because there is no ceiling when this really starts to take off.
That's right.
I'm sure you see content I put out, like messages I sent like 10 years ago. Like, bro, wait, hold up.
Exactly.
Yeah, no. Yesterday's price is not today's price, my friend. No. You talking about 2000? That was 20. What? That was 2016? Oh, no. We don't charge you those prices no more.
That's hilarious. That's it, man. But listen, I think investing in yourself, big takeaway, right? Making sure that you invest in yourself first. It gives you the ability to now get into the expertise of whatever area in equities or business ownership that you want to get into.
That's right.
And again, we don't think enough people are in it. Not enough people, I think, have honed that skill set of business, of just learning business and understanding it. And I think it would tremendously help some of you as another level of investing. So you're not just passively giving away all your money, and or right, just continuing to put it into the thing that most people know, which is real estate. So I don't, again, I don't know that we have time to go all the way into all of the things, but
Sure.
like just know that like real estate is the other asset class that, you know, people just put their money there because they understand it. They know it, right? Like it's just, I understand. I pay this money. I understand how the mortgage system, like the banking system works with mortgages and loans and right equity, home equity lines of credit. And I kind of understand how the money moves on this side, how appreciation works in my house, how things go up in value. I kind of get this. So that's where I'll put my money. And I think real estate is a default place for a lot of people. And because of that, I don't think people treat it as the asset class that it should. Like they don't go
Mm-hmm.
as deep into it as they really should. Like
Mm-hmm.
when I talk about this stuff, and this can be like something that's misconstrued in some of my content, like I'm not bashing real estate. I think real estate is an amazing asset class. But I also think that one, home ownership, right, isn't investing in real estate. That's like a point that I talk about. And then also that just single family residence might not be the best move, or, duplex, triplex might not be the best move. There may be some other avenues in real estate that can treat you a little bit better, give you a little bit more ROI, might fit you a little bit more, right? There's so many different ways to go about it. And that's what I want people to know if you do go into this side of the investing, of your midterm investing. What have you seen? Because you've been connected and you're connected to the real estate world, could be. So like, what areas have you seen, or what are some of the places that you think people should be paying attention to?
Yeah, I think I echo a lot of your comments, Chris, and I think it's maybe elaborate a little bit more on that with my experience. Um, Real estate, I do agree, a lot of people don't dive into as well as they should in terms of understanding the ins and outs and what's involved. I think for a lot of people, it's like because it's secured and it moves relatively slowly. Um, there is room for error and
Mhm.
that can be corrected, right? Like you can make a phone call and explain the situation and try to get something fixed. So I think a lot of people also feel comfortable with that. Like, all right, like, I mean, it takes in some places, not in California, it takes quite a while to evict somebody, right?
Right.
So, all right, we'll get it figured out. Some people have been playing around that.
Hmm.
So, but I think the opportunity actually is similar to when you look at the what is it, 1949 gold rush.
Hmm.
um the ones that really made a lot of money were those that made the ice picks, right, or
Right.
sold the ice picks, or the pickaxe or whatever you want to call it.
Hmm.
um I think it's a similar opportunity here in real estate. I think there's a lot of opportunity around the activity of real estate, whether it's investing in creating a lead generation machine that you feed to others and take a percentage. That could be 5, 10, 15K investment,
Mm.
right? That could quadruple. It's kind of similar to, you know, buying gold is great, but if gold goes up, you might as well have bought silver, right? Because it's exponential, right?
Mhm.
Gold goes up 100, silver might go up 1,000 or 10,000, right?
Right.
And it's also going to fall as well. Same thing with stocks.
Mhm.
That's almost more. I think it's similar here when you invest 10, 15,000 plus some know-how to build a lead generation system. I think you actually get more out of that than 10, 15 going in on an actual house.
Mm.
All right. Um, or let's say you start a business where you do the mailings for a lot of investors. I think that's a hidden opportunity. So if your skill is in something else, it's not in making phone calls, negotiating contracts, dealing with people, right? I think those are like the kind of like the big three right there,
Yeah,
right?
they are for sure.
Then you might want to look at something that's related to, because you know the activity is going to continue, but it's not necessarily at the heart of. In fact,
Yeah.
I'm giving y'all something I got in my back pocket. Right, I've
Listen.
talked about land quite a bit, so the land and try to start. I talked to a couple of people, land syndicate, man, and
Let's go. I
we're
told
not
you.
dealing with toilets, not dealing with tenants, and we're not dealing with termites. Okay. We're no tenants, no toilets, no termites. We deal with land. They're not making any more at a lower price point. There's a lot there. So I mean, shoot, I could share this on there because y'all can go ahead, and if you get into it, just hit a brother up. Let's
Let's
do some
go.
work.
Let's talk it out, man. For real. Uh, I think this is the type of stuff that people don't dive into, right? The nuances of real estate, the different ways to be able to make money, land, the commercial side of real estate. I don't know if you've been paying attention to any of the talks around commercial real estate right now, but basically they're saying that, the banks are right literally trying to get rid of all of these commercial buildings, skyscrapers, all types of office buildings, shopping malls, like commercial buildings. They're losing money on them, and there's like this big commercial um commercial property kind of like bubble that's about to burst a bit. um and that's a real opportunity. Again, back to the equity side of like brick and mortar businesses, you know what I mean? Like, while everybody's zigging, you might have to zag. If these banks are trying to get rid of commercial properties, that might be a place where you're like, you know what, maybe we do get a few investors together, a few of us together, and throw $50,000 on an office building, and then have the vision of turning it into the place that's uses AI or some other
50.
technology.
You must be buying in Pennsylvania.
You might be. We might be talking to somebody in Indiana or
Yeah,
Missouri, right? Everybody's
that's
not in
right.
California, right?
Don't
Like
don't do it. Don't do it. I was talking to someone in Texas. They're like, "Oh, we're full over here." I was like, "Nobody want to be in Texas with your terrible weather. Get out of here." Listen, only if Elon could afford it, he would have stayed. And in fact, he did stay. He didn't actually move. Y'all need to stop.
Did he move? He
Did
didn't
he
move.
move?
I
He
mean,
spends 27 more minutes in Arizona than he does in California. Sure, he moved. Right? Dude, he lives on a jet. Right?
for sure. For sure.
What is this? I think people are so funny. Oh, you see, it's what's happening right now. Let me tell you this right now. Sure, there's a commercial bubble about to blah, blah, blah. I personally know a lot of people that are making a lot of money in commercials still.
Mhm.
Why? Because they bought it correctly, right?
Mhm.
So right now they're like, oh, what? People losing. Oh, all right. Let me. Okay. They're looking to buy.
Mhm.
They're not looking to sell. No, no,
Mhm.
no, no, no. They're looking to buy more wallets. So, and this is what I'll say, about real estate. I'm obviously no real estate guru or anything, but the biggest thing I've taken away from real estate, it's like it's never a bad time to buy real estate. It's how you buy it.
Mm.
It's 100% how you buy it. If you like, if there's so many different ways to structure a real estate deal that if you've just been doing it for a while, like well, obviously I can't do it this way. I'm not going to make any money, but if you structure it, there's always a way to structure a deal so that you make money that I know
Yeah.
of.
Yeah. Listen, I agree. That goes back to the point of like most people just don't dive in deep enough
That's
to
right.
to understand
That's
how
right.
to do that. They look at it very like simplistically, And you can, again, if this is something that you want to do as investment opportunities to build your wealth, to get right, to take your financial life to the next level, then you gotta get some specialized knowledge. You gotta learn some things. You gotta, take action, execute, but like get more information on how to do things properly. So
1000%. And I'll say this too, to kind of leave it off. Like, if you are at all in the health space, in the um, online space, or interested in getting on the online space, um, reach out. Let's chat. Let's talk. You know what I mean? More than happy to at least point you in the right direction as to where to get going. Because I talk to a lot of people that are overcomplicating it, that are doing I mean, I think one of the biggest pieces of advice is like, entrepreneurs, we do a lot of activity, a lot of like activity, just like doing stuff, right?
right.
But knowing the right things that you should actually be doing, I think that's probably one of the hardest parts about being an entrepreneur. And if you can solve that problem, then the rest of it is just kind of like, do you just do it? Right? If you know what to do and you do it, well, you're probably going to be all right.
You're beating most people. You're beating most people in life and business. If you know what to do and actually do it, you'll win, right? You'll win the race. So, yeah, couldn't agree more, man. Couldn't agree more. That's exactly what this entrepreneurship life is about. So, yeah, man, that's all I got. That was good.
That's it. That's it. You guys go through that. You make sure you watch this one once or twice. Drop some questions. Get in the Facebook group.
That's right.
There's we're not just saying this, we really are dropping some real value out there, starting with the workshops. And some real cool stuff that's coming in. If you have specific questions, you can actually post them in there. We'll go ahead and we'll respond to them. Yeah, I'm excited. So hey, listen, take one of these actions, get your cash flow correct
Right.
midterm, so that we can partner in some stuff.
That's right. That's what we want to be able to do, by the way, right? Like, again, all of you that have been rocking with us and continuing to engage and listen to the good life, like, let's continue to build together. Let's continue to build, right? If there's a way that there's investment opportunities or conversations you want to have, or you want to step into coaching, you want to get into business, whatever the case is, like, let's talk it. Let's talk about it. Let's be open. Let's build together with the community. So we can all, again, do the things that we want to do in our health and in our finances. Make sure those things are in equal harmony.
1000%. It's been a pleasure. See you guys next week, and we won't leave you without a dope pod to step to. Until next time. Peace.
Welcome to the good life.